Hello. Mothers know their children and the pain they go through more than anybody else. Spouses know the pain of their wives, and thank God you were able to stand up and take care of your woman. And it's the caregivers that need to stand in the gap so often for these combat wounded soldiers and their families. My son, November 12th, 2006, was blown up by an IED blast in Iraq. He almost became a triple amputee. He lost both legs above the knee, and he wounded his right hand, his dominant hand. And these past 5 years have been a real struggle. He's got a wife of 8 years, 2 children, and they have 3 children. They just had a little boy about a month ago. And the real struggle we saw began when my son retired, because that's when it hit you that, this is what's left of me. And I'll never forget the day that they always tell you when your son goes outpatient is when the anger will hit. And he took it out on his mom. You can't divorce your mother. And he was in Walter Reed and had never left the campus, and had his wife push him over to where I was at the Marriott Courtyard Hotel, which is where I'm staying now. And he had her push him in the door, and he couldn't get beyond the doorway. And he sat there and he shook and he cried and held me for about an hour and a half. And he said, "Mom, why didn't I die? Look at what is left of me." But he was able to talk about it. And then for years, he tried and tried to do better and better. He couldn't quite get on his prosthetics. He still hasn't done that. But he just wanted to be around his combat wounded buddies. He couldn't get into his new normal. Nobody knows the hell families go through but the families. If you want to know if there's somebody struggling, ask the people with that soldier, because they know. And my husband and I started retreats in Panama City Beach. We brought over 300 soldiers and spouses twice a year. And so we have seen them. They come for 5 days, 4 nights. We cover everything. And their stories are all the same. It's almost textbook. And there's not a soldier that comes there that wouldn't benefit from this, because the wives are struggling. The husbands wake up in the night and they think they're back on the battlefield. They get angry. They lose their tempers. And they don't like the way they are, but they can't seem to be able to change. Some of these women walk out the door. And then what do you have left? A soldier struggling with all these issues. Drugs don't help. We've had so many soldiers on our retreats that have tried to kill themselves. The side effects of a lot of these drugs is suicide. And these are young men. These are kids. Now they're coming back, so many of them, double, triple, quad amputees. My son, through, General Maney, I live in Panama City Beach, Florida, and through these retreats, we got to know Pat, and he talked about the hyperbarics. You never can get a man to go to counseling. If there's any men in here that will, at Walter Reed, they were saying, Joshua, you might need to go to counseling. A lot of these counselors there are wonderful, but they're cute little ladies that have never seen the hell of war. So there's no relation that can go on there. But my son finally decided to go through the hyperbaric treatments. And his wife actually left him twice. And we're a Christian praying family, and we knew God is a faithful God. And she just said, I can't deal with the anger anymore within Josh, because they take it out on the ones they love the most. And she loved him and knew she would stay with him, but she couldn't be around him anymore. And these are the silent hells families go through, that nobody knows what goes on behind those closed doors. But we do. And we would cry and we would pray. And I believe these hyperbarics was an answer to prayers of us and all of our family. Because Joshua finally could sleep at night. He asked his buddies to go back. I want my wife, I want my children, and I want to try something. I've got to try to get better. So he was alone, and they feel so alone. And he started going through the treatments. And he started to be able to sleep at night, to be able to focus, to be able to finish a thought. So many of the things that General Maney was talking about, my son dealt with. And so many of these warriors that have come to our retreats deal with the same thing. And they're coming back in pieces. We as a nation need to do something to heal these men and women. We need to make them whole. And doing this will make it happen. And our son had 40 treatments. And he could laugh again. He could love again. He could let his wife know he loved her. He could sleep in the same bed with her again instead of staying up all night playing video war games. A lot of these soldiers do that. They can't relate to people anymore. And they almost want to get back on the field like they're back in war again. And he went through 40 more treatments. And it's like, I once was blind, but now I see. And we've got our son back. His wife has her husband back. And the little girls have their daddy back. And it means so much to these families. This nation does not need to turn a deaf ear to these families, because there's so much suffering going on that nobody knows about but the families. And we've seen hundreds come through our retreats, and we know their pain. We know they want help, but they don't know what's out there. And I believe if we can educate people to know there is something painless that can literally heal the brain, where they can be whole again, the difference is miraculous. It's miraculous. And I just thank God that there's a group of people that are wanting to do something to give back to a nation with men and women coming back that normally would have died on the battlefield, that need not just to have monetary benefits, but they need to be able to live again, to love again, to feel again. And that's taken away from them when they have these brain injuries. We serve a great nation. We have a nation full of people that know that freedom is not free. And there are so many people that have sacrificed so much. And please support this. Something needs to be done so these families can be whole again. And as a mom that's been through the hell of war, that has sat at Walter Reed and seen my son come back in pieces, but has seen him again helping other wounded warriors. When we had our last retreat, people that had seen him for years said, "Who are you and what have you done with Joshua?" He took ownership of Warrior Beach Retreat, and he was out there talking to soldiers, one that had tried to kill himself 3 times. He was helping. He was sharp. He was there. And people that had seen him for years knew, something's different. What is it? And this needs to be done. It needs to be done. We need to heal. As a nation, we need to come together to bring healing to these that have sacrificed so much for the freedoms that we all enjoy. And it's so simple. We just need to do it. So I thank you all. And, I thank God for these people. I thank God for the hyperbarics. Because without it, I don't know where my son would be. I don't know where his family would be. But it heals the families. It heals the families. Thank you so much.